Preparing to run a studio session can be a really easy thing to do, but it can also be a really hard thing to master. So today I'm going to talk through some tips and stuff that I bring to the studio so my sessions run smoothly and efficiently. So let's talk about your outcomes to the studio session. What are you doing? Are you recording? Are you mixing? Are you mastering? Are you writing? Are you trying to be more creative? When recording, I like to write out a channel list, which will include what microphones I'm using, where they're going to be positioned, and what kind of routing they're going to go through if they're going through any outboard. This is going to help me on the day, as I won't be having to think too heavily about miking and positions and can focus more on the artist. Here is a channel list that I used previously for one of my recent sessions. If you're planning on doing a bigger studio session with multiple musicians, I really like to do a floor plan that I can leave in the live room so that musicians can see where they should be. So you've planned your session. Let's now talk about what you should bring to your session. First off, adapters. I always take adapters with me for all kinds of things, whether it's for USB compatibility or for headphones 1/4 inch to micro jack, therefore. I will also bring with me at least one hard drive, maybe two. I might have to share some files with the artist, and this just makes it easier for me to do so. Headphones. I always love to bring my own headphones to a studio, even if I know that they have some already, for I know that exact pair of headphones better than I'll know any others. A notebook and pen. However simple it might seem, you'll always need to take notes, and I like to do it physically in a session. Whether the artist needs a demonstration of what's going on in the live room, or whether you need to explain some routing or something that's happening, a notebook is always essential on my list of stuff to bring to the studio. Optionally, you can also bring a Sharpie and some electrical tape to then put across your console and write out all the channels that are happening. I tend to not do this so much, as I normally rely upon a channel list. Then think, if you're doing a specific session for something like drums, you might want to bring cloths for muting or a drum key. So you're packed and ready for your studio session. Let's start talking about what you're going to do in the session to make it more successful. The first thing is always turn up on time. I always invite my artist down at least half an hour after I get there. This gives me enough time to load up the project and start miking up whatever we're doing. Your goal as a producer and engineer is to always get the best out of your artists. And that might take a few tries to get, but it's never a bad thing to talk to your artist. See what kind of conditions they need to get the best performance. And if they don't know, try some stuff. Do they like to sing with the lights off? Or would they prefer to sing in the control room where you all are? Does it feel isolating in the live room? These are all considerations that you're going to need to bring up with the artist. Whether you do it prior to the session, so you can account for them in the session before they get there, or whether it's a conversation you have at the start of the session. It's always good to just talk to your artist and see what kind of things they would like to get a better studio session. So let's think about time management, and let's take an example. You've set out to record guitar and bass in a session. You've recorded your guitar and you're waiting on the bass player. Everyone's in the control room having a listen to what's just been recorded. What can you do whilst waiting for the bass player to either make your artist have a better time or make your session more efficient? I personally want to listen to the track once or twice and know that I've got enough suitable takes that I'm happy, and I've asked the artist if they're happy with their takes that they've got, would maybe go and pack down the guitar mics, and so that time is being reduced from the end of the session, where you have the great slog of packing down all of your equipment. And I'm not saying you have to do this all the time, you have to be so on it, because if you are, you can maybe lose some of the magic that can be created in the studio. You don't have to rush things, and if the artists get a sense that they're being rushed, it can create a really tense and stressful environment. So always be communicative with your artist. Always say, hey, I'm going to go and pack down the mics. If you need anything, let me know. Remember, studio sessions are meant to be fun. It's meant to be full of experimenting and bouncing ideas off of people. And it's your job and role as an engineer or producer to create these environments. With that being said, another thing I really like to keep on top of is how many people I have in the studio. Normally, I'll have a limit of saying I'll have me, I'll have the artist. If the artist would like someone there to make them more comfortable, I'm happy with that. But any more than about 4 or 5 people in the studio at once, I feel gets cramped and distracts everyone from the work process. And I'd rather everyone be concentrated and then go have a laugh after. With all that said, if you want to see this stuff in action, next week's video will be me going into the studio and implementing these techniques. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.